Hey girl, how's it going?
Oh, I'm keeping it cash. What are you up to?
Just chilling out on a Tuesday night.
Excellent,
Mm.
excellent. Welcome to Cover Dish, y'all.
It's Tuesday night at 7. Oh, girl, I think I'm getting a phone call. Excuse me. Cover Dish Industries, how can I direct your call? No, sir, I'm sorry, Miss Cardis is not available. Would you like to leave a message? Of course, sir. Have a pleasant day. Miss Cardis, I'll be taking lunch early today. I wanted so bad for the phone to ring for that, and then it didn't, and I was like, you know what? The phone said fuck my drag.
You know what? And still do the dish. I love it. You would make a great executive assistant to a high-powered Mrs. Cardis.
Thank
Or
you.
Ms. Cardis. Or Dr. Cardis.
I'm available. My resume's updated, so if you are looking for
Girl,
someone, you just let me know.
tell me about it. Don't I wish?
My
Girl, what you
major-
drinking tonight?
My major selling points are matching costume jewelry
And that's literally all I look for in an employee.
and Microsoft Excel. Costume jewelry,
Fred,
Microsoft Excel. That's the end of the interview. I mean, what more could you want to know?
spread those sheets.
Mhm.
Hashtag spread those sheets. All right.
Yeah. Did you say what am I
What are you
drinking?
drinking tonight, girl?
I'm having one of my favorite cocktails, which is an Affinity. It is sort of like a post-prohibition era, very simple, only 3 ingredients. Did you roll your eyes at my post-prohibition, my propensity for post-prohibition cocktails?
I literally have said that to people where I'm like, well, if it's a post-prohibition cocktail, it has to be drunk by Eileen Galvin. Like, I've told people that don't know you.
You know what, I'm not a purist about like period fashion or like period things, but I have to say that I don't want any frills. I don't want any bells or whistles or curly cues in my cocktails. I want scotch, dry vermouth, and sweet vermouth, and that's what this is.
Wow.
An Affinity.
So that is, what is it called?
An Affinity.
Oh, excellent. Well, I am having an identity crisis, which I haven't had a sip of yet, so we're going to do it right. This is kettle and club soda with lime in a Grey Goose glass.
Beautiful. Now, is the glass part of the recipe?
Mm-hmm. Because that's the identity crisis. I didn't have any Grey Goose. It's like the bisexual of drinks.
It's a bait and switch. Like you think you can't serve anything but Grey Goose in that glass, and it's like, yeah, I'm drinking kettle.
It feels
tonight.
really weird to drink whiskey out of it. So I got these at the Columbus College of Art and Design
Art fair. Yeah.
And they had Jameson bottles, and then they had Grey Goose. And I was like, I'm not in college. I don't drink Jameson. Like, who's like, finally a Jameson? No one enjoys Jameson. It's just like, what is left? So I went Grey Goose.
I have some friends that might take umbrage with that, but I am also not a fan of Jameson, so there's no objection from me.
No, I mean, I'm sure there are people that like it. I think there's just certain alcohols where I'm just like, oh, that was not ruined for me, but I'm just like, I don't need to go back there.
I don't need to go back there, yeah. That's like me and Jaeger. Me and Jaeger have a
Oh, I know a woman who like sips on Jaeger on ice. Monster.
Look,
loves it.
In her defense, there's like, what is it, 12 herbs and spices? That's something else. But it is a complicated...
That's Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Ah, yes. Thank you. Thank you for keeping us honest on the dish. But Jaeger is a very complicated taste because there's so many botanicals in it. So like,
yeah, it is good.
In theory, I should like it because I do like complex herbal things. But, girl, we all have that thing. I had a friend who drank 99 bananas in college, and then she just, like, 99 banana... Do you remember those? Those flavored vodkas?
No, she did not. Did she drink it straight?
She drank it straight, and then she spent the night in a bathtub, and she was like, never again. Never again.
I have never met anyone who actually ingested that on purpose. Let alone not as a mixer. I guess it's vodka, so why would it be a mixer? Comment in the chat. What the fuck do you do with that?
By the way,
it's not even like banana flavored rum, where I'm like, banana flavored rum makes sense.
By the way, you might be wondering, no, the topic tonight is not irresponsible choices. But you know what? Like, let's just lean in. The first thing that I drank in college when I was a sophomore, I was like 19 going on 20, and I had a roommate who was already 21. So and also like he lifted weights, so like it was difficult for a while because I was just like, you know. But we
just picture you like,
yeah, we got over it. It was just like that. It was exactly what you expect. Like I was like playing my PlayStation 2 like, and then he would go out and get my favorite thing was Parrot Bay. I'm embarrassed to admit. I loved
oh no, Parrot Bay, those bottles, they were like so festive. No, that was college, girl. Yeah. Parrot Bay was college.
Coconut, so it was coconut Parrot Bay, so a little bit of gay, and Diet Dr. Pepper, a little bit of Hilliard, and the two of them mixed together was just perfect.
And if you know Eileen Galvin, you know to have a Diet Dr. Pepper on hand if she has a hangover, because there's nothing that'll cure your hangover like a Diet Dr. Pepper.
And it was a match made in heaven because sometimes he would just come up to me and he would be like, "Check the freezer," and you'd open the freezer and there'd be a bottle of Parrot Bay in there. He's the one that got away. Joe Ferrara, wherever you are.
You know what? I'll drink to him. I'll tell you about the one that got away from me in college. All right. So.
Cheers.
I was not in the honors dorm because even though I qualified, I thought it would be cool not to be.
Is that literally the reason?
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to be with the nerds.
Oh my God, you rebel.
A nerd. So I had no friends. And I met this guy in the honors dorm, and we would go to his room and we would drink like gin out of plastic bottles.
Oh my God. Where was your undergrad again?
Straight. Up at SUNY Potsdam.
Okay.
Like in the North Country, like in the Adirondacks.
So sounds really
he was a voice major too. We were both opera majors. He was such a bass.
Yeah.
And but he was like he was already trying to be an old man. So he'd watch like Catch 22 and like Casablanca in the dark and like drink well gin that was warm out of a bottle. And I was like, is this love? So
because you don't know. You don't know an undergrad. They're like, let me make it
so
special for you. And they just break out like the old crow, like,
Yes. And then he needed a haircut and he didn't want to pay for it. Again, just really picking the gems.
Wins.
And he asked me if I could cut his hair. And because my great grandmother was a hairdresser in Spanish Harlem, I said like yes, because I thought it was genetic. And I fucked his hair up so bad. And no joke, the girl down the hall who fixed it, they dated for 4 years.
Oh no. You set him up. You
know what? So cheers to you, Colin Hogan, wherever you are.
Colin Hogan, Joe Ferrara. Cheers. So many bad stories from college, which again is not the topic, but let's have one more in here. So I did go into the honors dorm at OSU my freshman year, and I thought for sure that I was going to find my people. Because I was this like, I like sat at the anime table at lunch and I was like a full-on theater nerd, and those were very small insular groups. So I was just like, we're outcasts. You know what I mean? I was ready for, I had come out in high school as gay and I was ready to go to college and find my people. You know what I mean? I was like, this is such a big school. I'm going to go to this honors dorm and it's going to be so diverse. There's going to be so many different people. It's the honors dorm, right? They're going to be intellectual. They're going to be academic. Everyone was just Adidas slides and like backwards baseball caps in the honors dorm. And I was like, and I was on the boys' side of the hall because we were co-ed hall, but we were
And you thought it was going to be Hogwarts or some shit. Like
I fully thought I was going to put that sorting hat on and they were going to be like, you're in Ravenclaw, mama. Like, you're it. You're that girl. Like, get your robes and your wand and your hat and like, you know? And it was not that. It was very much a continuation of more of the same. It was just kind of being an outcast, but in a different way. But I did meet two girls on the girls' side of the dorm that put me up when I got bed bugs that year, because they didn't arrange alternative housing for me, which is insane. Do better. But anyway, I stayed with them for a couple nights while that was going on, and then we lived together junior year when we went out of the dorms and got our own apartment. So things worked out.
Oh, girl, you had to be such a cute little baby. Anyways, so we are here to talk about emotional unavailability, which clearly is all about Joe Ferrara and Colin Hogan, but we don't have that kind of time. So we're not going to go that far back, but girl.
Let's go deep.
I have to say, our 20s were littered with choices with men, women, and people that were emotionally unavailable for us.
They sure
to
were
us,
decisions.
by us.
They sure were decisions. Some of them healthy, but not many. And yeah, you know, there were some things. There were some things that I wouldn't say regret is too strong of a word, but there are things that I would if I could go back and talk to my younger self, I would check in. I would just like to check in and say, is this the move?
Yes.
Is this the move, really? Because
But what do you do when you're confronted with emotional unavailability? Because for me, I'm like, oh, I'll try harder. Do I need to try harder? Do you not know how amazing I am? Let me open up more.
Let me force the vulnerability out of you. That's what we're gonna. I completely relate to that because I'm just like,
let me squeeze it out like a toothpaste tube.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing of being socialized. I don't know about like. I'm gonna claim the term socialized female. I'm gonna go ahead and make a bold claim that I was socialized male and then socialized female.
That's totally fair. Yeah.
So if I can just appropriate that for a second, and we can discuss what the problematic aspects of that later. As for people who are socialized female, when things are not manifesting between you and another person, especially if you don't know them that well, you've just met someone for a date, and they are not holding your vulnerability in maybe the way that you need or in a way that is responsible, and you're sensing that they're struggling a little bit with the skills of emotional vulnerability. I feel like the first reaction for us is, I'm doing something wrong, right?
Right.
You internalize 100%. It and you're like, I'm not communicating
100%.
the right way. And then you just fixate on that, and it's like the tape that replays over and over in your head, and sometimes it's just like, you got to get out of there. This is not working now. It hasn't been working, and it's not going to work. So, like, let's just cut our losses. And those are the moments where I'm like, we shouldn't have stayed in that for that long. We should have left. So, anyway, that's what I'm thinking about.
That's so real, though. And I feel like because it becomes not about the other person. It's all about you. It's reflected in my failure. And it's like, no. Like, that's too simple. That's too simple and also not true.
Mm-hmm. I don't accept that narrative. Like, it's like affirmations. Girl, you ever do affirmations? I don't do them every day, but sometimes I just look in the mirror and I'm just like, you know what? You are a goddess. You know what I mean?
Yes. I love that. You know what? I can honestly say, if I can, like, again, this is so us, like, of course you know this, but I can say I've only done affirmations, like, in my adult life once, and it was, like, last week.
Really? That recently?
Yeah. I was traveling and I was really struggling. And, you know, here's the thing about travel is, especially when you are on a different time zone, right? It's really lonely because, like, even if it's 1 hour off, it makes a huge difference. Like, it's like, even if, like, you know, typically I talk to my sister on the way home from work. Well, now she's busy. Or I talk with you and now, you know what I mean? So it was a 3 hour time difference. So it's even worse. It's even more isolating. Like, I didn't talk to you because you can't. You're just like, all right, well, I'm up at 7. You're already at work. It's 10 a.m. where you are. You know what I mean? And, like, when I'm finally done with my day, it's 7 or 8. But you're like, bitch, it's 11. So it's just, you know, you're just thrown off. And it was kind of this moment of, like, I needed it. And I was like, there's a mirror.
Yeah.
And no, it was phone a friend and I was the friend.
Oh, yeah, that is deep.
Like,
that is deep.
Because no one else was available.
Yeah. We talked about a little bit on the last episode that self-care is so important, but I mean, here's the thing for me, affirmations. Sometimes when I look in the mirror and I'm like, say something nice to yourself, and it's like, why does that feel so uncomfortable?
Yeah.
You know, it's talked a lot about now, you don't treat yourself as well as you treat your close friends, but I think that that's worth investigating. Like, why am I so hard on myself?
Yeah.
So I don't do it all the time, but I have my little rituals. Like, I like to pull a tarot card for myself every month that is like, this is what I'm going to meditate on this month. And occasionally I come back to it, or the imagery of something out in the world reminds me of that card. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm doing okay. I need to trust myself a little bit more. I need to say, I'm not going to get everything perfect, but I have a lot of experience and a lot of skills. And I need to remember that I am credible. I'm credible not just to others, but I'm credible to myself. Like, I should listen to myself.
Yeah.
Affirmations is also not the topic of tonight, but we are full of tangents, and I think that's by design.
I love that. I think thinking about emotional unavailability, you know, we both have horror stories, but I think it would be a disservice, right, to not talk about the other side of that, which is how to not get pulled into that bullshit, which is everything we just talked about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's understanding yourself is the avenue to understanding how you interact with others and what you're okay with, what you're not okay with. Let's just go right into a horror story.
Yes, let's go into a horror story.
Horror story.
Horror.
What is that word? Is that the comparative form of horror? Yes, it is.
Yes, the horriest.
Yeah, horror and horrorist.
No competition, girl. I'll always have you beat. All right, go.
I don't know about that. I give you a run for your money.
Oh, girl.
But anyway, that's for off the air.
That's for Dish After Hours.
Yeah, that's for Dish.
You want that? You got to come to one of our shows, bitch. All right. Sorry.
Oh, we'll get to that in due time, dear audience.
Horror story.
I had a certain individual. Hit it, maestro. I had an individual over once upon a time, and this individual was like had these qualities of toxic maleness that were just, you know, the bravado. I'm gonna try and impress you. I'm going to
Did he like take you somewhere where like he's like, I know the chef, which just for the record is like one of the most annoying things in the world. Like, if you know the chef, don't tell me you know the chef. Let me figure out you know the chef when appetizers are sent out we didn't order. That's sexy. Don't roll in like you know the motherfucking chef. You know what? Anyone can say they know the chef.
Yeah. No, and the chef did come out. The chef did come out and talk, but it was very uncomfortable because I was just roasting him in front of his friend who was the chef. And it was very embarrassing for him. But for context, that was the time where he accidentally texted me, Eileen is a transvestite, heal/she'll be a good time. That was the same person. So I was like...
We love that. We love open transphobia.
Just over.
Just open.
Just flagrant. And I stormed downstairs and I was like, look what this mother texted me. And we were just venting about it. And I was like, you know what? I want dinner. I'm going to go have dinner. Not a choice I would have made today.
And I'm like ready to like march on his car.
Yeah, we're ready to take to the streets. And I was like, let's go to dinner. So it was at the Pearl, which was very nice. And he was like, oh, I know the executive chef. And I was like, oh, okay. So he came out and I was just like actively roasting my dinner date in front of his friend who worked at this restaurant.
Love it.
Yeah.
No. 10 out of 10, no notes.
No. But that was not the same time where he came over and we were doing the dance. We were getting to a place where we were going to approach sexy times. And in the course of that, there was cuddling because I like cuddling before, during, and after. And you may quote me on that. And so so the cuddling while the cuddling was happening, the tears came, and there was crying.
Wait, was this in the cuddling before, the cuddling the during, or the cuddling in the after?
Oh, good question. This was the cuddling in the after.
Oh.
This was the cuddling in the after. So it's like, oh, you know, you're doing like the figurative cigarette moment. You're like, oh, thanks for that. And then all of a sudden the tears came, and I was like, what's happening? Because we were not in an emotionally vulnerable space, partly because he had not set us up for that expectation, but also I was like, oh, that's not what you want, so we're not going to do that, you know?
Right.
And so I didn't realize that this could happen, but I felt like I was a little bit surprised by, oh, that's the, like, and sometimes you just have tears, right? I want to be fair in this moment.
Absolutely.
Sometimes people just have tears and that's not something they have control over. So I want to acknowledge that. But the tears were happening and it was just like, I just feel like I try so hard to get through to people and no one understands me. And I think I was just kind of like, this is not what I am here to support you with. You know? And I don't want to be, this is the struggle. I don't want to be insensitive. I don't want to be a bad person. But I'm like, you got to move it along because...
No, but that was also him.
I didn't schedule this out for the evening. I'm looking at the itinerary and like being your therapist was not on it.
No, but also this man who, by the way, is like now a like noted and famous sexual predator in the Midwest. Who, the great choice, 10 out of 10 again, awesome. He's a terrible person. Which you didn't know at the time. I mean, you knew he was a terrible person, but then we really found out how terrible.
But then we really found out. It sort of came in waves.
But his victimization of his partners, this matches. Like, to be honest, like this whole like, okay, now I need you to like do all this extra work on top of the right, like this the violation of contracts. And like he was such a victim all the time. Like he was always just like, whoa, poor me. I'm a white cis straight dude with money and no one gets me.
Yeah. You know, I never considered until this very moment, but do you think there's a possibility that that was a form of manipulation? Because I wonder if he was like, oh, I'm going to get emotional so that this woman, female identified person is going to
rally for me and empathize with me and ride for me.
Empathize with me, exactly.
Yeah.
So
and give me and give absolutely. Absolutely. Because people like that don't
No. So that was a horror story. Girl, what are some horror stories you're thinking of?
Oh, I just have so many. Here's the thing. I am a sucker for someone who's emotionally unavailable. My 20s, oh my God. You know what it is? Because I love someone. I love the yin to my yang in terms of like processing and quiet. Like I love a quiet person. But that meant like I would find the person in the room that didn't talk and I'd be like, I'm gonna get you. And now in my 30s, I'm like, oh, there's a difference. There's a difference between emotionally unavailable and an introvert.
Yes.
Right? But my radar hadn't like picked up on that. So I was talking to this person. Girl, you knew the whole thing. And like we would text and we would even talk sometimes on the phone. And it was like hot and heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Hot and heavy. And anytime I tried to see them, they'd weasel out of it. I mean, they just were like, and it wasn't even like, oh, Brooke, no, they were secretly married or seeing someone. They weren't. It was just absolutely like not having the capacity, not having the space, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I remember one time I went to their apartment. One time. And
is that 111 times? No, I'm kidding. Just one time.
And their ex-girlfriend stopped by to drop something off.
Unannounced?
With her kid. I don't know. I don't even remember. Okay. And it was fine. I don't care. But then she was like judging me and doing all this shit. And I was like, no. It's not that big of a deal. So then the girl walked me to my car, not the ex-girlfriend, the girl. And then I was like, all right, well, I came over and it was like a housewarming and I brought you a bottle of booze and whatever. Are you going to kiss me goodnight? And she's like, well, no, they're watching out the window. And I was like, all right, fuck yourself.
You were like, I'm sorry, is that a problem? Because are you embarrassed to be seen with me? You know, those are the thoughts that go through my head.
You know what, honestly, I really, and we talk about this because this is also that night, Halloween, when you
had sex in the graveyard. Yes.
Halloween
sex in the graveyard, yeah.
Sex in the graveyard night was also the night I was like, hey, I'm like, in a sexy costume on my way to see you. And they're like, no! What the fuck is happening?
Right, if you don't want to see me in a sexy costume, then like, I don't know what else we can do here, you know?
Plot twist, I do always dress like Wednesday Addams, so like if that's not your bag, I get it. But I remember like just
a very
being, like,
powerful, executive, militant Wednesday Addams.
Very militant as fuck Wednesday Addams.
Yes.
Big guerrilla warfare energy with that outfit. I just look very severe in pigtails. I'll do pigtails.
Wednesday Addams, but make it legal observer. Tactical
which
sunglasses.
Nobody wants.
Yeah.
No one's like, finally. You know what I mean?
Finally.
Finally, it's happened to me.
Yes, come through, CC Pensiton.
I put on the Birdcage soundtrack last night, and my life hasn't been the same.
Oh, and you've not been disappointed for a second. If you want a really great soundtrack from the from the 90s, listen listen to Night at the Roxbury, starring Chris Kattan and Will Ferrell. Yeah, and Will Ferrell and Molly Shannon as the romantic interest, because it's such a stupid movie that does not hold up. But that soundtrack is fire. That is what every gay club in the 90s was playing. It's like, this is your night, dancing free until the morning light.
Yes!
Where do you go, my lovely? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. You know, it's all the good 90s dance classics. It's all of them.
Oh my God, I'm going to look that up. That's like such a good idea for my driving to work tomorrow.
Yeah. That is the workout playlist. Especially if you look for, and I quote, if you go to YouTube and you search gay What Is Love remix. You just take any of the titles from that soundtrack and you just put the word, you just sandwich them with the words gay and remix. And let me tell you, that is a recipe for a peak workout.
Oh my God.
Get
That's
pumped.
hilarious.
Get pumped.
I honestly, like, all I listen to is Megan Thee Stallion when I work out.
Oh, girl, I got one better for you then. Gay Megan Thee Stallion remix. It works.
You're like, hey, we're looking for a wedding venue. Gay wedding venue remix.
Oh my God.
It doesn't matter what it is. Like, I'm in the market for a coffin. Gay coffin remix.
Mm-hmm. And
I
get
love
it
that
done.
for us.
And get it done, America.
Girl, what are you like when you're emotionally unavailable? Like, what are the ways you can tell?
It's not fun. I mean, you lived with me, so I think you know some of the ways that I go inward. And I'm a Pisces sun, Pisces moon. So when I want to escape to my own little private world, I will. I'll shut the door. I won't talk to people. I will just shut off. And if you try to engage with me in that space, I will respond because I'm aware of it. I'm aware that I'm in that state. And I'm trying to form language around that experience now. I'm trying to say like, hey, it's not like I need some time alone. But that's difficult. It's difficult to say because I feel like I want to try to give people what they need and support my relationships with people. So I don't feel good in those moments. And part of the reason that I think I'm shutting myself off is because I'm like, I'm not going to give my best to people right now.
Well, right. I mean, if you're not useful, like in the relationships, like you got to pull yourself out for a little bit so you can actually give something.
Yeah. But I still have a little bit of me, like there's an angsty emo inside. And so it's like, it feels good to listen to like sad music and like play my little violent video games and like brood and read my little books on witchcraft, which is one of my favorite things to do when I'm going inward. I just like, ooh, let's read about the occult. And I do enjoy the occult on any day of the week, but I feel it's particularly, there's like an aesthetic pleasure. I don't know if you have this, but like, if we're gonna be here and we're like feeling miserable, like, let's lean in, right? Let's cast magic circles. Let's read about demons. Let's go. Let's get into it. So, how about you? What happens when you're emotionally unavailable?
I write my best jokes.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like because I think it's my go inward, right? So I'm just like, all right, fuck everyone. One of my exes used to say I wrote my best jokes when I was angry, and I think like it was really just I would write my best jokes when I was like processing. So if I like sit with myself and process, I'm just like, all right, I need a minute. And write.
I have trouble focusing when I am not at my best. And part of the reason I think it coincides with my depression. And for me, depression and focus do not line up. Girl, I am comfortable telling you on the air that I renewed my prescription of Zoloft because I'm very medication positive. We are medication positive on this channel. Thank you. And I think the jury's still out on how it helps me with my anxiety because it's a little bit, the anxiety is still there in different levels while I'm on this, but it helps with my depression really well because even with a lot of heavy stuff that's going on, or when work is challenging or demanding, or I'm doing a lot of peopling, when I'm on it, I don't go inward as much, and I don't say, what's the point? Because for me, depression is just the tape that plays in my head that says, what's the point?
Right. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, like when you feel like you need, when you're emotionally unavailable, is that a depression moment, or is that just like, I need to be away from people for a while?
I think for me, it's more of like an anxiety moment, like, and I just pull in. you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, usually I get to that point when I'm out of bandwidth. And you know me, girl, I have no limit, right? Like everyone is just like, she's just going and she's just blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. Like if you love me and you know me and you see me and you've lived with me like you have, you've seen the break, right?
Yeah.
And it's not over anything. It's not over anything significant. It'll be like, oh my God, I dropped an egg on the floor, and I'm like, nah, like, and I just lose it. You know what I mean? And then it's like, well, that's not the sign of something bigger. And obviously, as I've gotten older, it gets, I get more regulated. But I think, that the awareness on what I need is quicker. And I definitely think like writing comedy has really helped with that. You know what I mean? Like writing, whatever you write, you know what I mean? Just kind of helps process it.
Yeah, I haven't done as much writing. I think I'd like to try that again.
I'm thinking about getting into the occult. So there we go. You've really sold me on it.
All right. Well, we can share resources. I've got some books to recommend.
We can swap resources. Well, girl, we are past time per usual because I love talking with you.
But we should take a moment before we go and talk about the ways that our viewers can see us in person this month. Girl, you look like Lady Liberty. All you need is just be holding us like a set of scales or something. Yeah. It's like
big Lady Liberty energy at Paramount.
All right, first the fuck of all, let's talk about Miami, Florida.
Let me do Militant Wednesday Addams while you're talking.
Yes. All right. So in 2 Saturdays hence, Brooke and I will be together on a show called Tonight with Tarek at Villain Theater in Miami, Florida. So if you happen to be tootling down to Southern Florida, you can find us on the stage at Villain Theater together. So it's going to be amazing.
Tonight with Tarek is a talk show. It's going to feature Eileen Galvin, Lando Gonzalez, and Luthno. And Tarek is absolutely fantastic. Follow Villain Theater, Villain Stand Up on Instagram so you can keep abreast of the situation. And then, girl, what are the other shows?
But you don't have to go out of state to find us. What's that? Yes, you heard right, because late this month, on the 25th and 26th, you have 2 opportunities to see us right here in Columbus, Ohio. So that was so fast. You were so good at that. Oh, you know what? It's okay, girl, because give the people what they want. And what they want is fashion. And fashion means what? Baby Spice pigtails. So on the 25th,
can see us.
We're going to be at District West for Covered Dish Live Traffic Jam Edition. It's going to be a good old-fashioned Wall Street nightclub-esque traffic jam.
Decide, are you going to wear your red, your yellow, your green? We're going to have glow sticks, drag, burlesque. I'm going to find an old corset. We're going to see at least 4 of my ex-girlfriends. It's going to be so fun. It's just like Wall Street, but better.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible. So please come out for that. It's on a Friday, so Friday night plans, you got them now. And then Saturday, we're going to be at the Vanderelli Room, and we're having a benefit show that is all proceeds are going to benefit the Trans-Ohio Name Change Fund, also known as Ohio Name Change Microgrants. And so this show is going to bring in resources from different organizations around Columbus, but sexy resources, which is why I'm doing this. And we're going to talk about how to navigate the terrible name change process if you're a trans person, and how to get funds, because if you didn't know, you have to pay a court fee and also publish your name in a newspaper. Like it's the 1830s and you're in the Wild West. Girl, I had to do it. It was terrible. I did it in 2018. So now we are trying to pay it forward.
People who change their name because of marriage don't have to do it. Like, it's openly discriminatory. Sorry, keep going.
It is. And there is a particular attack on trans people right now, because if you didn't know, there are 600 anti-trans legislations being considered and put forward in our 50 states right at this very moment. So, this is what we do about that. What are you going to do about that? We put on a show. We put on a show with Brooke Cardis and Eileen Galvin. So, please stay tuned for more details. The ticket links are going live very soon. And you know what? If nothing else, you can find us right here next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
You cannot find us next Tuesday because you're taking your birthday off, girl. Oh, so if you want to see us, you absolutely have to fly to Miami for Tonight with Tarek on Saturday,
March 12th.
March 12th.
March 12th. All right.
I love you all individually and collectively. We will see you the following Tuesday and every Tuesday thereafter right here on Les Dish.
All right. Bye, kings and queens and in-betweens. Mwah.